Hi, hello, it's me, Hemi. I thought because everyone decided that their life mission is now to complain about Forsaken's balancing since the Azure update, that I would join in. This update's balancing can be described in one sentence. Half the problems would be fixed if pro servers are added. I will refer to this sentence as the overarching sentence, so I do not have to say it 10 times over. Also, feel free to keep this video on in the background since it's quite literally just yap. Let's go. Let's start off with Azure. Everyone says he's so overpowered, and by that I changed the meaning slightly to pub stomper. Yeah, Azure isn't as overpowered as you think he is. He's just better because pub stomping exists. And I don't have many problems with his kit, except just a few pet peeves with his traps. Seeker Bulb and Stigmatize. My thing against Seeker Bulb is it doing 4 damage per hit. As Survivor, it feels hellish because it's basically a rival's killer's aimbot, but as Killer, it feels fair. Though it's directly counterable with a survivor called Builderman and his Ascendant, the Dispenser. It's very good at healing chip damage, though in pub servers, you're never going to get a somewhat good Builderman, which is just one thing towards the overarching sentence. And the older brother trap, Stigmatize. I think the concept of this trap is very well done, as it's just the collector's vine staff. Stigmatize does synergize very well with his kit, especially in Strangle. My pet peeve though, is that when you get hit, you take 12 damage! I know it's taboo to compare different acing games, but I could care less. Imagine every time you got hit by a vine staff and pawned by 14 o'clock, you took 12 damage. No. But you're not going to be, on average, taking 12 damage from the Stigmatize only. You're probably going to be thrown into it by Strangle, which does 27 damage total. And don't even get me started on if you get hit by an M1 in addition, which will be 99% of the time. 52 damage total, assuming you only had a drop of 3. That's just unfair. It's basically free gashing wounds. Lower the damage that Stigmatize does, and this could probably be remedied a bit with some team play. Overarching sentence, eh? There are some more balance changes for the other killers, with 1x catching my eye the most. Oh my god, they finally gutted him, yes! They didn't have to do anything else besides the entanglement, pull strength, and the minions. Those are the only 2 parts about 1x that made me hate him so much. Finally, the minions don't start targeting you from halfway across the map, and entanglement isn't as much as a death sentence. That's all, quite literally all. Thank you. Now, let's go down each change from the update logs. Sentinel Stacking. I think Sentinel Stacking is much more fair to both sides as the stun times are normal, fair to survivors, but you can't be stunned as much as Killer depending on how many Sentinels there are, which is fair for the Killer. I think the immunity increase actually helps you as you don't have to worry about stuns as much. Good change. Tear radiuses being increased by 1.25x is... I don't really care because I barely have my music on in the first place. Hey, at least I know where Sixer is from the other side of the map. Overall, nothing burger change. I don't really care. This same nothing burger term can be used for Shedletsky's balance changes, though not as much because he did get a fair fried chicken nerf, only healing 30 HP instead of 40, which I think is much healthier because the second you lose Shedletsky in a chase before, they're already full HP again. Slash got a buff for the wind up being decreased, but it's only 0.05 seconds, so I don't really care. Shedletsky seems a bit healthier now with his chicken. Good change. Taph. Oh my god, finally this guy gets some changes. Previously, I hated Subspace Trip Mine because you get hit from 9 walls over and then get angry as it's literally a 5-second stun with Helpless. Why is Google Docs suggesting helplessness? What the hell? Though now, it doesn't trigger through walls, asterisk. Helpless was tuned down to 3 seconds and it now gives the revamped weakness status effect, which decreases your damage output by 10% per level. Besides the other changes that Killer detection, stacking status reduction penalty increase from 0.85 seconds to 2 seconds. Let's go! Finally, Taph can be put under control. Main thing for Tripwire is stacking nerfs. 1.5 seconds instead of 0.85 seconds, which is so much better. Finally, Taph is in the world's biggest nuisance and around as Killer, especially with his new stacking nerf. Wait, isn't Taph a she/her? Okay, hold on. Taph is NEO, just had to check the Discord server. Overall, some healthy changes. I do like the rework what the f***? Overall, some healthy changes. I like the rework of weakness as it fills in. Guess 2027 with some new stacking nerfs. Knockback stacking nerf increase from 8% to 10%. Let's go. I don't care what. Main thing I want to go over is the fact that the slowness the killer gets after hitting a guest blocks isn't free parry energy. They have a chance of dodging now, which is great, and the main thing I want to change about block. Charge now has a scaling knockback depending on how long you've been what the hell? I suck at typing. You've been charging, which is nice, but the knockback goes up to 11.5 after Main thing I want to go over is the fact that the slowness that the killer gets after hitting a guest block isn't free parry energy. They have a chance of dodging now, which is great, and is the main thing I want to change about block. Charge now has a scaling knockback depending on how long you've been charging, which is nice, but the knockback goes up to 11 after half a second, while it was a flat 9 before. Why did they increase charge knockback, technically? And at least the on-hit resistance is lowered from 1.25 seconds to 0.75 seconds, which is just more fair. Punch got some stacking nerfs and a 5-second cooldown reduction, fine. For Guest, I think he's definitely a bit healthier now, though there's still work to be done. He's still kind of brain dead. Noob now gets +1 hitbox priority while in Slate Skin. Okay. Wait, N7 got a nerf? The clone's lifespan is halved whenever it's using cursor mode, alright? Fair nerf. And N7 has so much team play potential with the clone in cursor mode, so... fair? I'm unsure. Builderman with the famous carry ability. Finally, Builderman has something more to do. It doesn't really affect balancing too much in my opinion, it's just there. Though with Sentry Dispenser, the cooldowns were reduced and they go on cooldown when the killer destroys them. I think those are some healthy changes, and stacking nerfs? Sentry slowness is now 1 if there's more than one Builderman alive? Okay. Is Forsaken trying to tell us to play in a more diverse team comp or something? Wait, what? Jane Doe got some fine stacking nerfs with her Shatterpoint gain and starting Shatterpoint, along with not getting free Shatterpoint when the crystal doesn't apply resonance, and Hatchet stacking nerf being slightly increased. I have no clue what is just said. These changes are fair, nothing much. Now on to the big 2 of the update. Elliot, Spaghetto, and 2-time. Let's talk Elliot. What I see from these changes is that you get out more pizzas, but for less healing. 45 seconds for 45 HP before, and now 30 seconds for 30 HP, assuming the generators are done. Same health output in general with a simple Desmos graph. Also, a big change that I noticed is that if you, an Elliot, picks up a pizza from another Elliot, you're gonna get half of the health from it. I don't get this. Why? I think maybe only receiving 75% of the healing would be okay, but we gotta deal with what we have. Also, dude, they're just encouraging a better team comp, okay? Like anybody plays Elliot in the first place. And the other half of this kit, Rush Hour. I really like the use of the new status effect, Exhausted, as it decreases stamina regen and increased drain. It decreases stamina regen and increases drain by 10% per tier. That's just pure balance there. You have to use your brain a bit when using the ability, and it becomes more fair if you have 3 charges. Oh, did I mention that? You have charges for Rush Hour depending on how many pizzas you fed others. I don't think I have to say much to tell you why this is good balancing. Overall, I think these changes make Elliot way more healthy, especially Rush Hour not being a free get out of jail card, and the one and only 2-time. He might have gotten gutted. Now, I'm not going to go over every single balance change because it's a lot, but I want to propose changes because I think we all know what happened with 2-time. One of the main things people talked about is him not having as much potential in chase as his little mini. Oh my. I suck at script writing. What is this? One of the main things people talk about is him not having much / as much potential in chase as his little mini lunge was removed, and he doesn't get any more healing from the stab. Number one, why do they remove the little lunge? It just doesn't feel right. I think you could maybe tune it down a bit, or another hitboxes wouldn't be a problem. But and also about the healing, I think the ratio of ablation to health for prey should be slightly decreased to accommodate for front stabs healing 5 health, non-crouch back stabs healing 7 health, and crouch stabs healing 10. I just feel that's a bit better for 2-time as they have a bit of defense and chase now. If you gotta lower the numbers more, feel free. And I also love the non-crouch backstab only starting for 2 seconds, as it's not as big as a punishment for getting backstab while in chase, and it encourages stealthy play. Yeah, with 2-time they gotta be worth nerf. The maps. I didn't talk about the overarching sentence for a while, but this is where it really shines. Most of the maps' loop spots got heavily nerfed, and some maps got equalized. Not going to go over specific changes, but this is exactly where pro servers should be separate from normal servers. The general pub server player doesn't exactly know how to loop spot chain to its fullest, or have the top of the line chase mechanics, though the pro server players would have the upper edge in those areas and can use the maps. General pub server players do not have team play or team comp at all, though pro servers maybe would, I don't know. It'd at least be better than pub servers. And this update's balancing heavily encourages a diverse team comp with more severe stacking nerfs, because everyone plays Guess 2037, of course. You get what I'm saying now? Playing in pub servers is half on half a nightmare because they lack the thing that would make the balance changes dealable: team play and team comp. So just add pro servers already, yet again, it would fix at least half of the problems. Also, the most important part of this update is Dusekkar getting strength low whenever you plasma beam a survivor. Dusekkar would not be the same without strength. We got our Dusekkar strength training class. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Hope this video had at least a positive impact in any way, shape, or form. I suck at script writing and I also suck at speaking out loud. And I can't wait to see the controversy if there's some in the comments. Have a good day, y'all.